Friends, welcome at the Summary Club. Let's continue today with lessons in scientific and practical chiromancy. This time I will tell you how to quickly complete a hand test for career guidance and so-called life talents. Yes, talents, because for the modern man it is very important to find himself in the profession, which will help himself realize as a person, which will be a favorite thing in life, besides bringing not only a lot of money, but most importantly creative and moral satisfaction. But we can reach this ideal, of course, when we understand what talent fate has bestowed on us, and most importantly, when we manage to develop it to a sufficient degree. Only then is it possible to become a true professional in his work, as it is said in common parlance, from God. So today we will try to find out what profession suits you according to your hand. How important is it to choose the right profession? When we were students, we were faced with a very serious choice that could affect the course of our future lives. This choice is, of course, our future profession. This is a very difficult and meaningful decision. No mistake should be made in the choice, because your fate depends on it. You won't become a doctor who will gradually begin to hate his patients and curse his job, or an accountant who can't stand being scrupulous in primary documents, suffers from a lack of attention, so often makes mistakes in reports and most importantly does not get any moral pleasure from his profession. Well, it is chiromancy that will help us to understand the intricacies of fate and learn what profession ideally suits your character in order to avoid a similar negative scenario. Last time we already told you what do the basic lines on the palms of people's hands mean, about what chiromancy is, and we also gave the facts about the reliability of the information obtained in this way. But once again, I remind you that chiromancy is a very ancient science that studies individual features, character traits, events experienced by a person and the future by the papillary patterns and lines on the hands. It is also worth noting that the lines on the right hand tell us about the current state of affairs, and on the left hand what is laid down in us by the forces from above. But this is true for right-handed people, but for left-handed people it's in the opposite order. But let us already begin our test of predisposition to certain occupations by the hand. And, of course, I recommend you not to put it off and look at your hand right away and determine if there are signs of such a profession and a corresponding talent on your palm. How to choose a profession with the help of chiromancy? Entrepreneur, businessman and top manager. Let's start by examining the shape of the palm. Those who have a relatively square palm usually like to engage in practical activities. And if you add to this a clear line of fate, it is directed down from the middle finger to the wrist, though it is quite rare, you will achieve success in management and business. A very important sign of a successful businessman is an unusually large thumb, symbolizing perseverance, determination, and most importantly a keen desire to achieve success at any cost. The dominant straight little finger, Mercury's finger, also speaks to the qualities that an entrepreneur should possess, its clairvoyance and intuition. Ambition in the profession of an entrepreneur and businessman is reflected in the length of the index finger, Jupiter's finger in the language of chiromancers. Such people have an unusually long index finger. Writer, journalist, screenwriter, director, artist, composer and other creative professions. A person who is gifted with imagination can be recognized already by a long-shaped palm. Such a person needs a job that can bring his or her creative ideas to life. If you look closely at the eminence under the ring finger, the so-called Hill of Apollo, the big strong hill symbolizes the incredible optimism of its owner, as well as a positive attitude toward everything around him. He always looks happy and cheerful, and most importantly, that person doesn't rarely work like the damned to achieve his success. This person is usually gifted by fate with a strong creative force, manifested in a great love for harmony and beauty. Success in creative work is practically guaranteed to him. Also, the dominant elevation near the rib of the palm opposite the thumb, in chiromancy called the hill of the moon, tells us about the strong imagination of the owner of this palm. Such a person is usually endowed with natural eloquence, but his shyness and lack of self-confidence prevents him from being a good speaker, so he pours out his art on paper. Also, this person may be able to successfully realize himself in the musical field, because writing and performing music pacifies his restless soul. Well, a typical artist is a person with straight and smooth fingers. Television and radio presenter, television journalist, teacher, psychologist, conflictologist, and other professions that involve frequent contact with people. People of such predisposed to constant communication professions are endowed with hands of the air type. Signs of this type: fingers long, palm square. All fingers lean toward the thumb. The hands are dry, soft, and the fingers are supple. The owner of such an air hand requires continuous communication with people. This person is characterized by such qualities as reliability, decency, and most importantly, he is able to use his analytical abilities for the collective good. In addition, a small sign in the form of a square under the index finger is called a teacher's square. It speaks of an innate talent to teach people. After all, this person is able to explain to students even the most difficult material. Trade: sales representative, sales agent, consultant, salesman. A salesman's hand is usually the so-called fire type in chiromancy. Such a person is even more open to communication than the owner of the air palm. Forces from above have given him an intuition, thanks to which he is able to make quick and effective decisions. He needs changes like air, or like fire. Well, this person will be successful in trade or a similar sphere, where you can show independence and autonomy. The fiery type of palm is the most common short fingers. The palm is rectangular in shape. The line of life, wrapping around the thumb, passes at a decent distance from it. The elevation at the base of the thumb, the so-called Venus Hill, which stands out more than any other on the palm, speaks of the seller's powerful energy. But, despite this, a good salesman is sincere, sensitive, responsive, easily accepts all the twists and turns of fate, and of course, always in a positive mood. Such a salesman is likely to find happiness only by selling goods that are to his liking. Car mechanic, carpenter, plumber, electrician, and other professions associated with manual labor. The hand of these professions is of the earthy type. This person is quite attracted to repetitive and rather monotonous work. Working in his favorite field for a long time, he is sure to become a master of his craft. The character traits of such people are reliability and honesty. The owner of such a hand suits any profession, which involves not only hands, but also ingenuity. The earth type of the palm is the most common. Short fingers on the palm in the shape of a square. The joints of the phalanges are not flexible. The lines on the hand are rather few, but the main lines are clearly expressed. Modeler, costume designer, interior designer, theatrical decorator. These people already have a palm of the so-called water type. They usually like comfort and convenience in their work. These creative natures will show themselves well in a profession that gives them aesthetic pleasure, and they can reveal their talent most often only with the help of family and friends. The water type of the palm is long palm with elongated fingers. The whole hand looks narrow, as if it were elongated. The signs and lines are numerous. Geologist, tour guide, sailor, stewardess or steward, itinerant professions. His dream is to live away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Also, this person could be an excellent mathematician, engineer. After all, these professions also involve working in a secluded environment. Physician, scientist, lawyer. In people who are predisposed to these professions, the dominant position on the hand is the Mercury Hill, elevation under the little finger. This elevation confers a person with foresight and business acumen. In his work, he will have a great opportunity to show such character traits as diligence, intelligence, eloquence, ingenuity, and initiative. You can also recognize a scientist by his knotted fingers. A doctor can also be recognized by the healer's mark. It is a series of several vertical lines, usually 3-4, located below the little finger. Often these lines are offset toward the ring finger. Don't confuse it with the child's lines. People with this sign feel compassion and love for everything on earth. They are endowed with the ability to heal with the imposition of hands. This sign can also be seen on the hand of a good veterinarian.
Subscribe to the Summary Club and watch short versions of the most popular and useful videos every day.
A military man, a policeman, an athlete. A strong Mars Hill, elevation in the middle of the rib, and between the index and thumb, tells us about a person quite aggressive, courageous and even combative. He likes thrills. He is not afraid of danger, even in the most extreme situations. He keeps his cool. He needs adventures like air. Often such people succeed in sports as well. Accountant, bank employee. Long pointed fingers give away a person who attaches importance to every detail. Such people are meticulous and precise, and these qualities are accordingly necessary for people dealing with all kinds of documents. A man with such attributes will always seek to make money with his mind, but not with his hands, and for him it will definitely be the right choice. How can you recognize talent by the hand? But most importantly, we believe that every person has some talent, and it is really possible to determine it by the lines on the hands. However, most of us not only don't know how to do this because of the lack of knowledge, but do not even assume about its presence, and maybe do not want to notice it. Let's try to find an explanation. And that's important, because really most people just can't recognize that they have this or that talent. Perhaps the talent of some doesn't get the approval of the family, but the main reason is the lack of motivation. People often talk about the catastrophic lack of time, but most often this is just an excuse. After all, you can always find time for your favorite activity, especially when you have the desire and confidence in the possibility of implementing such a talent. Of course, not everything is so simple, for the development of talents really most often requires certain sacrifices including energy, money and time. Well, how can you avoid it? For example, to develop the talent of a pianist, you definitely need to play the piano for almost 8 hours a day, and not everyone is able to do it. And yet, it is very important to correctly recognize your talent, and most importantly, to try with all your might to develop it. Even if you do it at least as much as you can, then you will get incredible satisfaction from everything you do, because it will mean living in harmony with yourself, as well as in harmony with the higher forces, which for some reason endowed us with this talent. Artistic abilities. We've already broken down the basic signs responsible for creative talents, but there are still additional, more subtle ways to clarify which ones. For example, to find out if your creative talents can manifest themselves in the artistic direction, you need to look at the ring finger, finger of Apollo. When it is dominant, with a strong hill at its base, and has an elongated upper phalanx and a wide cushion, all this will show the presence of artistic talents in a person. If it has a long second phalanx, you are also endowed with a great sense of color. This sign also applies to people endowed with excellent taste in clothing. A sign of artistic talent is also a large hill of the moon, which forms a so-called creative bend on the rib. The owner of a moderately wide palm, a long pinky finger, and a strong thumb, in addition to all the above signs, will also achieve material success in his art. If such business signs are absent, perhaps such a person will be a simple regular full-time artist or engage in painting as a hobby. Literary abilities. You can tell about literary and writing abilities by the long little finger, the second phalanx of which should be the largest. If the line of mind, beginning between the index and thumb, passing through the center of the palm to the opposite ridge, ends on the moon hill. A person's talent is often reflected in the writing of artistic prose. When the line of mind crosses the palm straight, the ability will manifest more in writing publicity. Lovers of elegant prose are distinguished by a strongly developed lower part of the palm with the dominant hills of Venus and the moon. The sound angle at the base of the thumb will indicate poetic ability, as a poet needs a sense of rhyme and rhythm. Acting abilities. The long upper phalanx of the little finger symbolizes emotionality and sensuality. These are the character traits of a real actor. His fingers are unusually smooth, straight, and pointed, signifying the ability to freely express the widest range of feelings. A wide hand in combination with the above signs will indicate a self-confident, punchy character, and this is very necessary for an artist to achieve success. Musical talents. A talented singer can be recognized by his fingers. They should be moderately long with rounded tips. A strong Venus hill proves a strong love for music. The moon's great hill means a craving for musical harmony. In order to become famous, a person must have a long Apollo finger and a well-developed Apollo hill. Dancing talents. Talented dancers are usually very rhythmic and have a sense of tact. That is why dance ability can be determined by the signs on the hand, practicality, and sounds. They are found at the base of the thumb as lines in the form of angles. Also, a dancer needs to be resilient and energetic. Such traits dominate if the lifeline is characteristically deep. This line originates between the index finger and thumb and is directed toward the wrist. The strength will be indicated by an unusually wide, large palm. A person is most likely will give himself/herself over to the world of dance, if the hills of the moon and Venus are high and strong. Well, that's all for today. I wish you to figure out from your hand and these simple tests which profession suits you best, to find your vocation, and most importantly to realize it in your favorite profession, so that you can become successful, happy and wealthy as a result. Be happy and see our other videos and articles about chiromancy, its scientific confirmation, as well as how to find out how many marriages and children you will have with your hand, and much more related to learning and self-development. We wish everyone good luck.
And friend, don't forget to subscribe to the Summary Club for becoming more successful, educated, kinder and wiser every day. Save hundreds of hours and dollars spending on boring regular education. Feel free to write your opinions and questions about each video. We read all the comments. In addition, go to our official website, where you can find reading materials or watch other videos on channel and links in the description. All the best.